What's going on, guys? Shane D here. Did you think I went away? Did you think that I went away forever? You're like, he's never going to do another one of his ASMR stories. He's never going to ASMR us. He's never going to ASMR us again, guys. I think that he has decided that he's against it. Well, I'd have to tell you you're wrong. I'd have to say that loud and clear. You're wrong. How have you been? How have you been doing? That's the first question I ask. How are you getting on with your life? Are you doing good? Are you doing okay? You need some help? You need some inspirational storytelling? Did you guys go see that movie, It? That was really good. No spoilers. But that was really good. Did you see my video that I did on that? That's conviction, son. When you like, damn, that is good, man. I gotta make a video vlog about that. So what I did was, I was thinking, man, I love that movie It so much. It was so good. I want to look for something supernatural. So I looked up supernatural erotic short stories. And, well, I didn't investigate too far. You know, I'm just kind of lazy like that. But I found this little story, and I was kind of like, now, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure this might be the first gay one. Homosexual story that I do. Why do I think that? I don't know. But I kind of just glazing over the story, I was like, he. There was a lot of he's in there. Some he's. And some he fucked me. It was a good time. So, and that's just fine, isn't it? Homosexual stories are fine. Transgender's fine. At least in my world. I don't know what kind of sick world you live in. But to me, it's all gravy, baby. It's all good. So, tonight's story, Christopher and the 3 Condoms. So maybe it's not gay. I don't know. Maybe did he pork 3 girls? Did he pork 3 guys? Did he pork 3 animals? We don't know until we get through the story. We don't know. And that's what we're here to do. ASMR. Sexy book reading. Number 9. Christopher and the 3 Condoms. Again, people, I reserve the right to change words if I find them foul, run amok of the devil. If they're not Christian, I'm just kidding, I'm not Christian. You know this by now. If you watch enough of my horse shit, then you know that I'm not a Christian. But I respect the right to be a Christian. Christopher, which is a Christian name, Christopher, and the 3 Condoms. Man, I really love that movie, It. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. I will never do that to you. I love you guys too much to do that. But I really liked it. 3 thumbs up. 2 thumbs and my penis engorged. How do you like that? Do you think that Roger Ebert ever said my penis was engorged over this film? I don't think he did. I do not think he did. Unless it was that movie that he had something to do with. What was that? Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Is that the one that he had something to do with? Where he's like, yeah, let's make one of those horn dog movies. Well, you guys are great. And I'll be the first to say this. Well, I'll be the only one to say this on my channel. You guys are the best. And so, without further ado, let's get into this story. ASMR Sexy Book Reading number 9. What a good number. Number 9 for this. Christopher and the 3 Condoms. And we begin. Are you sure you want to do this? The genie said. I'm telling you, $1 million would make you a lot happier. I don't care, said Christopher. I'd rather get laid than get $1 million. Christopher, what? Well, if you're sure, the genie said, remember, it's only sex, not love. I can't make anyone fall in love. Not even the big boss can do that. But 3 people will want to fuck you. Fark you. Okay, you guys know I'm not going to do fark and fucks. Come on. We're all adult here. I just don't want him to tag me and go, no goddamn advertising. You gotta understand, I work for a living, but Jesus, I'd like to make a little money. These pootie pies, they're saying nasty words all the time. And I'm just reading stories for crying out loud. All right, here we go. How does it work? Christopher said. How do I choose them? The genie sighed again. He held out 3 condoms in their bright red squares. Magnums, possibly? Take these 3 condoms. When you show one of them to someone, whoever you show it to will want to fuck you. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. What happens if we don't use the condom? Why wouldn't you want to use a condom, Christopher? You don't care about safety? Your own personal safety? Alright. Genie says, doesn't matter whether you use the condom or not. The spell will only work once. After you've shown it to someone, it's just a normal condom. By the way, you should probably get some more. You have to use condoms, right? The genie knows what's up. What happens if someone accidentally sees them? Or if they see more than one of them? You're a smartass, aren't you? Said the genie. It doesn't matter if they see more than one. You get 3 chances. But whether it's accidental or not, they're going to want to fuck you. So, you should be careful with those. So, I can't take the spell off only by fucking them. What's the catch? I already told you, it's sex, not love. These jimmies will catch their attention, but you've got to do the rest. Any other questions? Christopher says, I don't think so. But the genie had already flagged a cab and was climbing into the back seat without a backward glance at Christopher. Christopher's irritating me already. Christopher looked at the bright red squares. Durex, he muttered. Why Durex? Does anyone use to? Hold on. Maybe I'm answering the question too late. Here we go. Durex, he muttered. You'd think any all-powerful genie could at least spring for Trojan. Okay, there we go. Christopher put the condoms in his pocket. Jesus, there's a lot of Christopher speaking in the first, what do they call that? The first term? Okay, Christopher puts the condoms in his pocket. Christopher remembered the genie told him to get more condoms. So before he went back to his apartment, he stopped by the drugstore. What? Christopher had an odd relationship with condoms. On the one hand, he loved condoms themselves. He loved their shape, how they were just the right size and shaped to go over a guy's cock. He loved all their different varieties, the black or red or blue ones, the ultra-thin ones, and on occasion the textured ones. He loved the ritual of carefully unrolling one over his cock, or unrolling one onto someone else's cock, for that matter. See, I told you, this is going to be a homosexual one. This is fine. This is fine, but yeah, it's because he's rolling the condom over his cock, or he's rolling the condom over another man's cock. Okay, let's go for it. 2017, let's do it. He didn't love buying them. Just looking at the boxes turned him on. And he didn't like getting wood in the middle of a store. He hated bringing them up to the cash register and paying for them. He hated that whoever rang him up had that little chance to imagine him using them. He'd feel embarrassed on the off chance that the clerk would get turned on, and humiliated if the clerk would feel disgusted. Maybe he just doesn't like the way you look, Christopher. And he's like, I wish it was someone else using these condos. As Christopher stepped up to the store, the sliding door whooshed open for him. As he stepped in, he smelled the sterile gray carpet, saw the rows of joyless candles in their glum red wrappers, saw the bottles of hair dye with the beautiful scowling women on them, and winced under the harsh fluorescent lighting. The cashier, a skinny boy with messy brown hair, nodded at him. This was a guy he'd bought condoms from before. Christopher was normally friendly with this guy, and he had even thought he was cute 2 years ago. What's changed in 2 years? But he had long since become resigned to treating him as only a cashier. No fuck partner, just cashier. But Christopher was relieved that the cashier today was him, because he knew that he wouldn't say anything for condoms. All right. Christopher got a basket, headed to the condom section, and started loading it up. He'd use up his own stockpile of condoms by masturbating months ago. Really? Is that a thing? Masturbating into a condom? I've done that like once or twice, but I didn't know that was like a thing. When you get lonely, you're like, oh, yeah, remember when you'd roll a condom on the old ding boy? So you're like, yeah, just masturbate into it. It'll be awesome. So now, condom, ultra thin, magnum, studded, fitted, flare headed. I don't know what that means. He brought the basket of condoms to the clerk. Normally, they might exchange small talk. Now, the clerk simply nodded and efficiently scanned them all in. The name tag on his shirt said Peter. Oh, oh. Your total is $43.67, said Peter. Christopher pulled out his wallet. $43 worth of condoms, Christopher? You're going to buy 40? Christopher pulled out his wallet, but his pockets were so full that one of the red condoms came out, too. Peter's eyes went to the condom, then to Christopher, then down. As he blushed a little, Christopher thought, oh, he's definitely seen it. I don't know if I would have chosen him, but he is rather cute. He passed over his credit card and put the red condom in his left pocket so he wouldn't forget that the condom's charm was spent. My shift finishes at 6 tonight, said Peter. Are you doing anything tonight? Not really, said Christopher. Do you want to hang out? Sure, said Peter. At 6:20 that night, Christopher stepped into Peter's apartment. Peter had already changed into jeans and a faded navy blue t-shirt. And Christopher couldn't believe how casually sexy he looked. Christopher closed the door behind him. Peter said, "Hi," then stepped in to him and kissed him on the mouth. His lips were warm and soft, and his tongue, snaking in, felt so good. Christopher felt as if he won the lottery, that he was able to make out with such a cute guy so soon. Okay, my first problem is Christopher was just going, he's okay. I liked him 2 years ago. Now he's like, oh, I'm so excited. He's such a cute guy. You know, come on now. Come on, Christopher, you piece of shit. Is he hot? Is he not? Peter reached around and hugged Christopher tightly as they kissed, and his arms felt warm on Christopher's back. Christopher did the same and hugged Peter's slim body. Christopher could feel Peter's erection through his jeans, his 501 jeans, and smell the vaguely unbrushed teeth smell of Peter's breath. Ugh. That might be a no-go. It might be a no-go. Take a quick smoker here. I know that's some heavy vaping. I know. You're like, Jesus, what do your lungs think about that? I don't know. Don't judge me, all right? That's what I need right now. Peter stepped away, and the loss of the body contact felt almost as painful as stepping out of a warm bath. Let's go to my room, he said. He turned and led Christopher to his bedroom. Peter's bedroom was only big enough for his twin bed and his desk, his computer desk. His bed was unmade, and his desk was stacked high with books. Clothes covered the floor. Christopher didn't mind. Jesus. This is only the first encounter. I hope this thing is... I either got to read better, read faster. I don't know. This thing can't turn... What time are we looking at here? Let's see. 20 minutes in already. Jesus H. I will not let you guys down. I will not let you guys down. Jesus Christ. Okay. Peter's bedroom was only big enough for his twin bed and his desk. His bed was unmade, and his desk was stacked high with books. Clothes covered the floor. Christopher didn't mind. Peter pushed Christopher onto the bed, then straddled him, laying on top of him, kissing him more deeply and more hungrily. Christopher loved the sense of Peter's weight pressing into him, and Peter's hard-on pushing into his hip. But, wait, let me take my shoes off, he said. Peter sat up, pouting, and let Christopher sit up and take off his shoes. I think we're wearing too many clothes anyway, Peter said, and took off his t-shirt underneath. His chest was smooth and white. Next, he grabbed Christopher's t-shirt and pulled it off. Christopher didn't resist. Peter pushed Christopher back down and started kissing him again. His chest felt so soft and so warm against Christopher's chest, and his mouth was warm and wet and messy. Peter's jeans chafed a little against Christopher's hip, and he didn't care. Peter was writhing a little, dry humping him, and if he wanted to make the most of every inch of contact. As if... Jeez, I'm sorry about this, guys. Peter pushed Christopher back down and started kissing him again. His chest felt so soft and so warm against Christopher's chest. Didn't I just read that? Alright, what the fuck did I just read? Every inch of contact. Oh, here we go. Peter grumbled like a Ferrari doing 20 and slid off of Christopher, then fumbled with Christopher's fly. Christopher had long since gotten very hard. Here's the thing that you want to do. Is in these stories, don't have a long-ass fucking name like Christopher. Call him Chris, for Christ's sakes. It's like, Christopher did this, Christopher did that, Christopher. It's like, it's very, very long, cumbersome, and just fucking terrible. You take them off, I can do things backwards, said Peter. And he undid his own fly, then stood up to step out of his jeans. Oh, he stood up and stepped out of the jeans. He was wearing white boxers with red hearts on them. Isn't that like fucking something like, oh, geez, I've never seen those before. Christopher, likewise, took off his own jeans. Peter pushed Christopher onto the bed again and French kissed him again. His rough tongue slid over Christopher's. Their legs entwined as they embraced. Peter licked Christopher's face and neck, then slid down, licked Christopher's left nipple and his belly button, then lowered Christopher's black boxers. Christopher, see, I'm telling you with this, Christopher's stiff cock sprang free. Poplong. You've got a big cock, said Peter, and licked up the underside of Christopher's cock before putting it in his mouth. Peter's warm, wet tongue and mouth felt good. Peter bobbed up and down, sucking painfully hard, and his teeth scraping against Christopher's cock. Christopher was torn between absolute intoxication that someone like Peter wanted to give him a blowjob at all, intense pleasure from Peter's hot, wet mouth and moist tongue, and pain from the suction and the teeth. He considered what he should say. That's what I'd say. Oh, watch the teeth. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. That feels right. After a while, Peter came up for air, then kissed Christopher more while stroking Christopher's cock. When they split, Christopher said, "Let me do you," and lowered Peter's boxers with the hearts. Peter's cock was a bit smaller than Christopher's own, but it was a beautiful cock, very symmetric and smooth. See, that's what I'm talking about. If you don't have a big, giant ding-dong, right, it can still be very symmetrical and smooth and beautiful. But it was beautiful, symmetric and smooth, curving only up. It was only a little bit darker than his pale chest, and his testicles had already retreated. His scant pubic hair was brown. See, that's fine. You got to go to a gay story before you get to the respect for a smaller penis. Everything is like, oh, it's a giant fucking master. This thing slays dragons, buddy. Christopher took Peter's cock in his mouth, enjoying the softness of its head against his tongue. Peter moaned. Christopher licked up and down, enjoying the smoothness and hardness of Peter's cock. Then he pulled in his lips a little and wrapped his tongue around Peter's cock, like his tongue might wrap around a lollipop. And he bobbed. He knew the level of suction and warmth he was providing was perfect, like a mouth vagina. "That feels so good," whimpered Peter. Christopher kept the smooth motion going, enjoying having such a beautiful cock in his mouth. You're like, I'm enjoying this. It's such a great deal. And enjoying Peter's heavy breathing and faint, musky scent. "Can I come in your mouth?" Peter whispered. "Mm-hmm," said Christopher. Not taking his mouth off Peter's cock, he sped up slightly, while Peter moaned and thrashed his legs, flailed. Finally, he said, "I'm going to come." A few more squishy thrusts later, Christopher felt Peter's soft cockhead hardening. He felt Peter's cock throbbing, and he felt his mouth filling with warm, salty liquid. Peter laughed. "That felt so good," he said. "Thanks," said Christopher. "Why do you laugh?" "It was just so much sensation I couldn't take it." "Do blowjobs always feel that good?" "Not always, but they always do feel pretty good. Have you ever gotten a blowjob before?" "Never," he said. "I never got the chance in high school, and in college, now I'm just so busy studying. With work, I never had the time to look for anyone." "Yeah, I was like that in college too," said Christopher. "Can I try?" said Peter. "Can I try to give you another blowjob?" "Sure." I would say sure. "Sure," said Christopher. He laid back and Peter put his mouth on Christopher's cock again. It felt better this time, more confident. He nearly succeeded in that beautiful, warm, artificial vagina feel. Soon it was Christopher's turn to whisper, "Can I come in your mouth?" How long is this fucking story? He's got 3 condoms to get through, for Christ's sakes. The answer was another mm-hmm. Christopher felt the familiar sensation of semen gently trickling into his cock, building up deep in his hips, and then the explosion of pleasure. We all know what that feels like. right? That pulsing that he felt through every inch of his cock as deep in Peter's mouth. He squirted semen again and again and again and again. Peter waited until Christopher had finished coming. Then he pulled away and gulped. What? He's a gulper? That was so good, he said. He crawled up and kissed Christopher again. A long, slow, deep kiss like an embrace, and then settled under Christopher's arm to snuggle. What the taste? Said Christopher. What the taste? What the taste? Said Christopher. So he's asking, what does it taste like? No, the taste wasn't so bad. I mean, this whole thing. Coming to my apartment, sucking my dick, letting me suck yours. I should thank you, too, said Christopher. You're so cute. This was fun. I wish you'd asked earlier. Do you do this a lot? That's always the question afterwards. So, was I special in any way, or do you do this a lot? No, I'm too shy. I like guys, but I don't usually ask people to come over, or if I can come over. So I'm really happy this happened. He leaned over and kissed Peter lightly on the forehead. Yeah, you just, you don't want to. You did a good job there. Here's a kiss on the forehead. I wonder what came over me today, said Peter. I mean, I've always thought you were hot, but before today, it never occurred to me. Said Christopher. He debated how much to say. He also wondered whether Peter had always thought he was hot, or if one of the effects of the condom would be that the person affected thought he had always wanted to fuck him. If it were the former, he was very lucky. If it were the latter, he could accumulate not just hookups, but fuck buddies. Well, I'm just happy it did, he said, holding Peter a little tighter. So am I, sister. That's what Peter said. Jesus Christ, how long is this motherfucker? Guys, I'm starting to... So am I. Okay. The next day, Christopher already knew he wanted to fuck. The guy's name was Ryan, and he was one of those impossibly beautiful specimens of manhood. Neat brown hair, perfectly tanned skin, shoulders that were broad for his small stature, a tight, tiny waist, a tight butt. He always just seemed so impossibly sexy, whether he was wearing khakis that showed off his nice butt, shorts that showed off his legs, a tight t-shirt that showed off his perfect figure, or even an elegant sweater that covered it up completely. Although he didn't give off any of those nerdy vibes that might be expected of a chess player, his ranking was so much higher than Christopher's that Christopher had never played him in an even game. He saw him in the chess club. What? That they both went to on Tuesday nights, but Ryan almost never played him. And he would rarely answer Christopher's questions about chess, even if they weren't playing, although he was smoothly gorgeous, and he seemed to be the type who simply tolerated Christopher's presence, and only does so because there was no separate room for the weaker players and the stronger ones. So today, Christopher knew that Ryan would do a lot more than just look at him. After the chess club disbanded at 8, Ryan left. Although he was shorter than Christopher, his pace was very fast, and soon Christopher caught himself staring at Ryan's beautiful butt in those khakis and his back in a royal blue dress shirt. As Ryan passed him, "Wait," said Christopher. "Did I forget something?" Ryan said. Here Christopher took the second red-wrapped condom out of his pocket. "Do you want to come home with me?" Ryan looked at the condom, then at Christopher with round eyes. Then his look became softer and gooier. "Yes," he said. Ryan and Christopher barely made it into the front door of Christopher's apartment. This is rape, isn't it? It's against their will. I'm thinking this is rape. Well, I got these condoms. All they got to do is look at that. No, I'm not into you. What, did I forget something? Ryan says at the chess club, "Did I forget something?" And you stick a fucking magic condom in his face and then go, "Do you want to come home?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think I do." It's like fucking Bill Cosby with his pills. "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, nothing, just having a drink." "Hey, do you want to go home with me?" "Oh, it doesn't matter. Your fucking head's laying in the salad dressing over here." Ryan and Christopher barely made it into the front door of Christopher's apartment, even though it was very close to the chess club. As soon as they closed the door, they were clinging to each other, frantically kissing. Ryan seemed desperate. Ryan wasn't into you ever, but now all of a sudden he is, and he's in your apartment. Ryan seemed desperate to access Christopher's body. His arms wrapped around Christopher, then around his head, then around his neck. He wrapped one leg around Christopher's waist and pulled Christopher in closer, deeper kiss. Christopher felt dizzy, not just from the lack of air, but from Ryan being so hungry for him. Finally, they sprang apart, panting, and Ryan fumbled as he struggled to undo the buttons of his dress shirt, one at a time. "Take off your shirt," he said. Christopher took off his own sweater as he turned the corner into his bedroom. Ryan followed, stepping out of his loafers as he went. Christopher unbuttoned his jeans as he approached his own neatly made bed. By then, Ryan's shirt was completely unbuttoned, and he took it off and flung it into a corner. He took off his white t-shirt, showing his gorgeously sculpted abs. They always have fucking six-pack abs. And then unbuttoned his khakis. He had a huge erection under his black boxers. He stepped out of them and pushed Christopher to the bed. His cock seemed huge on his slender frame, long, thick, and veiny. There's a new one, veiny. You got a good veiny cock there. They French kissed more, Ryan's lips and tongue warm and soft, and his bare chest pressed against Christopher, and his cock pressed into Christopher's belly. When they came up for air, Ryan said, "I need more." Christopher sat up, bent over, and took Ryan's cock into his mouth. It barely fit. Jeez. How many... You ever ate a Subway sandwich? I mean, there's a lot of room there to stuff something in. It barely fit. He loved the musky smell and the soft head pressing against his throat. Ryan moaned, thrust a little, then said, "Do you mind if we fuck?" "Of course." Christopher said. He already put condoms and lube into his nightstand, and he tossed Ryan an ultra thin. He wants to fill them veins. Ryan ripped it open and slowly unrolled it onto his huge cock. Meanwhile, Christopher had already taken up the lube. I gotta fill this full of that shit. And it started to lubricate his hole. See, there you go. He passed the bottle of lubricant to Ryan, who drizzled some over his cock. And then Christopher rolled over onto his belly. "Fuck me," he said. Ryan apparently didn't need any urging. A moment later, he felt the giant cockhead pressing against his hole. "That's not gonna fit. That's like putting a pencil through a peephole." I don't know. And then the intense sensation as Ryan eased his cock in. The strong sensation of fullness felt so powerful and so good. As Ryan lay down on Christopher's back, Christopher felt the delicious sensation of Ryan's chest against his back and his weight on his back. Ryan thrust and panted. "Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby." Christopher couldn't believe that finally the two of them were fucking. He loved every bit of Ryan's skin and that hard sensation in his ass and the weight of him. Ryan wrapped his arms around Christopher as he rocked his hips faster and faster. He beat Christopher's shoulders, and Christopher gasped at the sensation. Ryan whimpered and thrust. He whimpered more and finally let out a huge breath. Christopher felt Ryan's cock pulsing inside him through the condom. Ryan pulled off the condom and threw it on in the nearby trash. Christopher's hole felt very stretched, but he felt happy and incredibly turned on that Ryan had come inside him. The only thing that could make this better: "You have to fuck me too," Ryan said. So one thing that I do like about the gay lifestyle is, because I wasn't quite sure of that. How does that work? And I'm not really that sure right now, but is that the way that works? It's like, guys are always horny. So it's like, I'm dating this guy, so it feels pretty good when you fuck me, but I also get to fuck you too, so that's kind of nice too. It just seems like, trade for trade. I always kind of felt like the gay lifestyle was, there's one that gets fucked and one that does the fucking, and that's just the way it goes. But this is kind of making me think that there's like, two sides to that. It's like, oh no, you get to jump on me next. So it's like, okay, there's points to be served up there. I don't know. Comment on that. Let me know if I'm completely wrong, but it's nice to know that other guy that he's not getting all the fucking. He gets to fuck too. He's still a guy that wants to, his balls and everything. They want to do their thing. Christopher sat up. Not a problem. So Ryan said, "Hey, you gonna fuck me too?" Christopher sat up. Not a problem, he said. His cock was still very hard and leaking pre-cum. Ryan lay down where Christopher had been. Christopher got out an ultra-thin magnum. Magnums? and unrolled it onto his cock. He slathered his cock with lube, then gently spread lubricant into Ryan's hole with his finger. He laid down on Ryan's back and probed Ryan's crack. Lay down on Ryan's back and probe his crack with his hard cock to find Ryan's hole. He found the hole and gently eased in. Ryan gasped as Christopher entered. Ryan's hole was so tight, so warm and soft inside. Jesus Christ, man. This story's going on forever. Okay, I think we're getting down to something here. Maybe this is one of those to be continueds, which will never be continued. He lay down on Ryan's back. Christopher held Ryan tightly as he thrust, enjoying the feel of Ryan's back against his chest. Ryan's chest in his arms and Ryan's tight, warm hole around his cock. Christopher's legs wrapped around Ryan's smooth legs all too soon. He felt that familiar trickle deep in his hips, and then his cock exploded with pleasure as it spurted and pumped semen into Ryan's butt. He lay there for a moment, taking a breather, panting, and his cock twitched with the final convulsion. Then he pulled out and threw away the condom. Ryan sat up. "I need to go," he said. His eyes cast around the room, and then he quickly found his boxers, t-shirt, shirt, and khakis, and efficiently put them on. "Do you need to use the bathroom or take a shower?" Christopher said. "No," said Ryan. "Goodbye." And he went out and slammed Christopher's apartment door behind him. What's going on with that? That's kind of weird. Christopher was confused. He went to go wash his hands and shower, but as he showered, he pondered. He just had some of the best sex of his life with a guy he'd lusted after for years. He was happy, but as soon as the fucking was done, it seemed as if the magic wore off. The spell had broken. Suddenly, as soon as Christopher had pulled out his cock, was this how it was always going to be? Was this how it was always going to be? Was yesterday a fluke, or did Peter actually like him? Christopher kept the last condom in his pocket for the next week, as he waited to see another guy who he wanted. He didn't want to do anything at work, but anyone else was fair game. The problem was, Christopher didn't leave his apartment very much. For Christopher, a wild night was having a big bag of potato chips while he played chess online. Normally, he skipped the potato chips. He's working on his figure. Finally, on a Saturday night, Christopher went for a walk on a bike path that passed by his house. He knew he had to do something for his health, and he did like the gyms. So, on sunny days, he often would take long walks down the bike path. Now that it was spring, the trees were green, and some of the flowers were blooming. Sunny days were very pleasant. He knew better than to expect anyone, but also knew that it was real, a real possibility. I don't know what the fuck this means. A blonde jogger approached. He had a jogger's trim build, a curly blonde hair. He gave Christopher a runner's nod as he passed by. Christopher wished that he had been able to show him the condom, so he took the condom out of his pocket, ready to show anyone. Well, that is it. ladies and gentlemen, that is it. ASMR Sexy Book Reading number 9. Christopher and the 3 Condoms. So he banged off 2 of them condoms, but he still got 1, and he might be coming for you. He might come looking for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not careful, Christopher might come looking for you. That's it, guys. That's all I've got for this. I want you to like, I want you to comment, subscribe. Nobody has liked or commented on any of the videos. Plenty of people watching them, listening to them. Don't dare to like or comment on them, which I find very interesting. What are you guys, freaks? Sickos? Anyways, guys, I love you so much. ASMR Sexy Book Reading number 9. Christopher and the 3 Condoms. Here comes little scratching noises. You guys like that? You guys like all those little noises that I give out to you for ASMR? That's what we do here. It's sensual. It's sensuality at its very best. So I will talk to you guys again very soon. You know I will. I love you. And coming in for a kissy poo.